This is a large model of Pearl Harbor, and I want to talk a little bit about the failed third wave. It really wasn't failed, they just called it off. So the third wave was supposed to come in and take out, see the submarine base and the fuel tank farm and these fuel tanks. That's what the third wave was supposed to take out. Now they hit the harbor, they hit Hickam Airfield, they took out a lot of the planes because they were put together supposedly to stop the spies from seeing them. So if you hit them with one bomb, it basically wiped out all the planes because they had clumped them together instead of separating them. So the fuel farms that you see over here, I'll go over here and get a better angle. Those were untouched. The third wave was supposed to take out these giant fuel dumps. So that wave was called off. Now, because they did that, that made Midway possible, because you had remember all the ships back then were on oil. They were all diesel. And because they had all this fuel still untouched, none of it was damaged, really, it made Midway possible. So without the third wave, if the third wave would have happened, Midway would have had to been put off for about a month so that they could restock the oil, and they would have had its infrastructure. Much like if you're going to cross a desert and you've got a whole bunch of people, you send people out to bury water in the desert so they don't have to carry all this water. And then those people use a little bit of that water to bury some more over here and over here and over here. So when you get the Army, it has to carry a limited amount of water. Well, the same thing with oil. The ships can only carry so much oil and fuel on them. Well, you want them to extend to have as much as they can when they actually do the operation. So you top them off in Hawaii, because most of them are coming from the mainland. Well, it takes some oil to get to Hawaii. Well, you want them topped off, and you want to have take tankers out there to keep them topped off just before they go into battle. So just before they go into battle, you don't want them at half their load. You want them fully loaded with fuel so they can do whatever they need to do for unforeseen circumstances. Excuse me. And here's a good shot of Battleship Row. And so, excuse me. So when these battleships were sunk and damaged, they refloated all but 3 of them, the Arizona being the famous one. If these ships would have gone out, if they would have had an hour and a half time to prepare, they would have gone out to sea and they would have still lost, and they would have been lost in 5,000 feet of water. The loss of life, not only would they have not been able to refloat any of them, and not obviously all of them would have been sunk, but the great majority of them would have lost. Instead of losing 3 permanently, they would have lost 7 ships permanently, maybe 8. Excuse me again. But by them getting sunk, as it were, in an emergency room, which is what being at port is, they could refloat all of them, or like I said, all but 3 of them. And the sailors just jumped off the side, and they didn't have to swim very far to get to shore there. And if that would have happened in deep water, they would have all pretty much died. So anyway, that foments my contention that Roosevelt wanted us to get in war, and he knew that Pearl Harbor was going to happen. But it was a happy coincidence for the sailors that it kind of played out the way it did. Thank you. I'm out.